grow the
Hold
league.
on.
So aid and have that revenue share, like what we're worth. We help grow the league. So we need to be able to be treated and compensated like that. And
Okay. I gotta, I gotta stop. When they say something crazy, I gotta stop it. We've helped grow this league. No, y'all have done. I'm not gonna say y'all did zero, but Caitlin Clark came and did 99% of it. What are you talking about? We deserve this. We deserve that. You do know, as much as all this, we've helped grow this and help grow that. You know what you haven't helped? The owners turn over a revenue and make a green dollar. You have not helped the owners in all of your.
Stop whatever you're doing and listen very carefully, because the level of delusion coming from WNBA veterans has officially hit a breaking point. For months, we've heard the same tired claim. We built this league. We grew this league. We deserve a massive payday because of everything we've done. But today, Chelsea Gray, the so-called point god of the Las Vegas Aces, went on national television and tried to rewrite history in broad daylight, pretending that she and the veterans are the reason the WNBA is booming, while conveniently ignoring the one person actually responsible for the explosion. Welcome back to the channel, where we don't just accept narratives. We've polarized them with facts. Like this video, share it everywhere, and subscribe. Today, we break down the absolute audacity of the WNBA old guard trying to take credit for the Caitlin Clark economy. Let's start with the quote that set the internet on fire. Chelsea Gray was asked about the stalled CBA negotiations and said, "We've helped grow the league, so we need to be treated and compensated like that." Sounds like your standard empowerment line, right? But peel back the layers and the whole statement collapses. Chelsea Gray has been in the WNBA for 11 years, since 2014. And in those 11 years, do you know how many times the WNBA turned a profit? 0. How many seasons did the owners actually make money before 2024? 0. From 2014 to 2023, the league was losing $10 to $50 million every single year while this so-called growth was happening. So what exactly did they grow? Not ticket sales, not ratings, not revenue. They grew the debt. They grew the losses. And they grew a culture of entitlement where simply showing up is treated like selling out arenas. The host brings up the most brutal point of all. If the veterans grew the league, why weren't they asking for revenue sharing in 2021 or 2022 or any year before Caitlin Clark arrived? Because revenue sharing only matters when there's revenue. 50% of zero is zero. 50% of a loss is a bill. Nobody wanted that. But the moment Caitlin Clark hits the floor, ratings jump 400%, merchandise sells out, arenas fill for the first time in league history. Suddenly, everyone wants a piece of the pie they didn't bake. It's the classic group project. One person does all the work, and someone else tries to swoop in at the end demanding an A+. It's dishonest. It's manipulative. And fans aren't stupid. They know exactly why they started watching. Now let's talk about the smoking gun the mainstream media refuses to mention. Unrivaled. The top veterans, Chelsea Gray, Breanna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, launched their own 3-on-3 league this winter. They marketed it as the best talent in the world, the pinnacle of women's basketball. And what happened? Nobody watched. Ratings tanked. Buzz flatlined. Most people didn't even know it existed. Why? Because Caitlin Clark wasn't there. This was a controlled experiment. Take the self-proclaimed builders of the league, put them on a court without Caitlin Clark, and see what the market says. The result? Silence. This proved, with actual data, not feelings, that the draw isn't the veterans. It isn't the league. It isn't the foundation. The draw is Caitlin Clark. She is the gravitational force holding the entire ecosystem up. Without her, the whole thing drops straight back into obscurity.
And players that everybody in the league looks up to and respects. How have those conversations been going as of late? Any movement towards what you as player collective want to see?
Yeah, so they did give us another proposal. The needle has moved a little bit, not as much as we would have hoped up to this point. And so sometimes it kind of feels like we're in scramble mode a little bit because the
You stars are playing it unrivaled and nobody's watching. Y'all not looking at the fact that when one player, Caitlin Clark, got injured last year, all of y'all's ratings tanked by more than 50%.
The host then hits the audience with the stat that destroys the entire "we grew the league" narrative. When Caitlin Clark got injured last season, or simply wasn't on the court, viewership didn't dip a little. It dropped by more than 50%. That isn't a theory. That isn't a hot take. That is a Nielsen-verified fact. So when Chelsea Gray confidently says, "We grew the league," the obvious question becomes, who is we? Because the numbers tell a different story. For a decade, the WNBA stayed flat. No spike, no surge, no breakthrough. Just the same small audience watching the same stagnant product. The growth, the explosion that suddenly has players demanding massive raises, is not collective. It is not shared. It is not the result of a 20-year build. It is singular. It is Caitlin Clark. And until the veterans accept that reality, they're negotiating from pure fantasy. You cannot demand a raise based on someone else's performance. You don't walk into your boss's office and say, "Pay me more because the new hire is carrying the company." That's not how business works, and Adam Silver knows it, which is why he's practically begging the union to get realistic. But there's a deeper psychological layer here: delusion. The host calls it old heads acting oblivious, and he's right. There is something almost painful about watching the WNBA establishment try to talk around Caitlin Clark. They can't say her name. They can't say thank you. They can't admit one rookie did in 6 months what they couldn't do in 20 years.
2022. How come it only happened when Caitlin Clark got here? Yes, there was a CBA negotiation and COVID and all of that, where Kathy Engelbert had to pay y'all up front and all this other stuff. Y'all was willing to let the league go under during the COVID year. We gonna forget about that. All of this big money, rah stuff y'all was talking. How come in the WNBA? Chelsea Gray has been in the WNBA since 2014. She's been in the league 11 years. In 11 years, you have not helped the WNBA owners turn over a profit. In all of your 11 years, the WNBA...
Because the moment they say it out loud, their ego shatters. Their legacy crumbles. Their self-image collapses. So instead, they hide behind vague phrases like the growth of the game or the momentum we built. It's a coping mechanism, a protective shield against the truth. But the fans see through it. The owners see through it. And deep down, the players see through it, too, which is exactly why they're scrambling to lock in a CBA before reality hits. Chelsea Gray specifically floated the idea of a 50-50 revenue split. Let's do some simple math. For nearly 30 years, the owners have subsidized this league at a loss, pouring in hundreds of millions just to keep it alive. Now, the moment the product finally has value, the players want half of the profits immediately, despite never sharing in the losses. Imagine funding a startup for 3 decades, losing money every single year, and then the first time the business turns a profit, the employees say, "Okay, we want half." You'd laugh them out of the room. That's why the league estimated the players' proposal would put the WNBA $700 million into the red. The union is demanding money that doesn't exist, built on a valuation they didn't create.